in Slovenia, and over the next 3 days, we're chasing some of the country's most epic views. We're starting with Lake Bled and heading deep into the wild beauty of Triglav National Park before driving the jaw-dropping Vršič Pass. Think crystal clear lakes, endless trails, and mountain views that will blow your mind. Let's get tipsy, y'all.
Well, good morning. We're going to go to one place in Slovenia that is very well known. Honestly, I think if you Google Slovenia images, this will come up repeatedly. We are getting our first glimpses of some of the mountain ranges as we drive in, and I gotta say, it's pretty impressive. Jagged, rocky mountains. Just saw a hot air balloon flying over the mountains. It's got to be quite an impressive view.
Made it to Lake Bled. We ended up parking in a lot that is €6 an hour, which is crippling to say the least. I've convinced Chris that this is motivation for us to run up a mountain and down. We have not hiked since we have been living in Italy, so this will be a very good, fun, interesting time of endurance to see if we can do it. Chris decided to pick the harder of the two paths up. Now, this path, in his defense, does lead to what most people think is the better viewpoint. We are getting our first peek of the lake. Y'all, wow. We've reached the physical challenge portion of this hike. Chris will go first to demonstrate what it's supposed to look like. He's more athletic than me. I try. He's just naturally athletic. It's so much fun hiking with him. My point exactly. Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. Look at this. I don't think you guys can appreciate how steep this is. We're going up the cliff. So we made it to the top. Chris just told me 3/4 of a mile with 600 feet of elevation. I thought it was a lot more, given how much my body did not enjoy that. Chris decided that we were going to make the loop of this. Totally fine with me. This is going to take us to the viewpoint from if we had done the easier trail this morning. We'll get there in about 15. What's made this infinitely more difficult is the rain that they've gotten. So everything's just a little bit slicker. So when you're on gravel or there's lots of mud, you just gotta slow down a lot. We made it. All right, here's this view. All right, so we're headed back down to the car. The easier trail is definitely much wider, as you can see. A lot more rocks though. I don't know, I might recommend even more ankle support, especially if you're gonna be hiking here. We don't have on ankle support type of boots. We have on just regular trail runners. And given the amount of rocks, I kind of wish I did have that ankle support. But this is, I don't wanna say any less steep. It's just wider, so it feels less steep.
After all that hiking, we decided it was time for a treat, and so we are here at the Zima cafe, and we are trying the Bled cream cake. And one of the things that we've learned about the cream cake is it's all about the jiggle. It's vanilla cream, fresh cream, and puff pastry with some powdered sugar, it looks like, on top. Super simple, light and airy, a little bit of that vanilla. It's a good post-hike snack, I will say.
This morning prepared us for the steep walk up to the castle. Like many of the castles we visited on this Slovenia road trip, Bled Castle is perched high above the shimmering waters of Lake Bled, which provides more than just a stunning viewpoint. It's Slovenia's oldest castle with a story stretching back over 1,000 years. First mentioned in the records from 1011, this fortress was built by the bishops of Brixton to guard the strategic crossroads below and assert their power over the region. Over the centuries, it has seen countless rulers from medieval medieval clerics, 2 noble families, each leaving their own mark on the walls. This castle's location wasn't chosen by accident. Perched on a very steep cliff, it offered a commanding view of the lake and the surrounding valley, making it a key defensive stronghold through the turbulent times. Today, the castle blends its medieval roots with modern touches. A museum that traces the region's history, a printing workshop where you can see traditional bookbinding, and even a wine cellar filled with local vintages waiting to be tasted, which is why we're here. Visiting Bled Castle is like stepping into a living history book, one that invites you to imagine life centuries ago while soaking in some of Slovenia's most breathtaking scenery. That little wine shop was just tucked into this little itty bitty cellar here in the castle. It was $2.50 for a tasting. I got one out of the big barrel, and then Chris got the Bled option. Both were very good for reds, which is exciting because I feel like we've been hitting and missing some of the wines here, and both of them were very good.
So as you've seen on this 3-part Slovenian road trip, we've been to a lot of castles so far. I was afraid I was going to get castle burnout, but honestly, each of the different castles we've been to has been so unique in its own way. One in the cave, one on the top of the hill, with the one in Ljubljana, and now this one here in Bled. The one in Ljubljana and this one in Bled, they are a little bit more commercialized. You know, there's restaurants, there's souvenir shops, there's art exhibits within the actual castle, whereas the other ones were a little bit more rustic and kind of felt like true castle vibes. Nothing wrong with that. Just know that going in is something a little bit different. They all have their, pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, I'm not complaining because they have wine.
Yeah, agreed. They do have drinks on site and beautiful view.
There's so many people, and especially the tours, they're kind of just being herded from room to room. If you can, get here when they open. Now, we did the hike, obviously, first thing this morning, so we weren't able to get here at the open. We are staying a bit farther north, so from the castle, we have about a 45-minute drive, and we need to eat lunch and go grocery shopping. That we have sandwiches for the hikes that we're going to be doing over the next weekend.
All right, we are back in the car on our way up to our next stop in Kranjska Gora. Driving out of Bled, the traffic is insane. And just to give you a sense, we are here on a Thursday, so not even a weekend. And it's like this, if you are coming, try to plan for a weekday. I would not want to be here on a weekend.
We made it to the town that we are staying in, and we went just outside of town to grab lunch. And we decided on a pizza place, which I know the irony that we're living in Italy. We actually don't eat a significant amount of pizza at home. We usually stick to more meats. The best part of this place is the view, and if we're being honest, the pictures online is kind of what brought us here. We are actually going to go head home for tonight. We're going to cook dinner, and then we're going to get in bed fairly early because we're going to get up probably around 5 to venture into the park to do a hike. So we will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.
A very good early morning. It is about 6:15. We are back in the car and we are heading up to the Vršič Pass area in the Triglavski National Park. It's about a 20-minute drive, and we have got a big hike planned this morning. It's actually not a very long hike, but it is a pretty challenging hike, but it's supposed to have some absolutely breathtaking and amazing views. This drive up here is no joke. I think there's been maybe 20 or 25 hairpin turns, and we just continue to climb. I was reading that the Vršič Pass is one of the highest roads in all of Slovenia. If the views on the hike are anything like the views that we've had so far, we are in for a great day. This is the Slemenova Špica trail.
We have to climb up this. It is cold up here right now since the sun is still just coming out. It's probably somewhere in the low 50s, but with the elevation gain for this hike, we're gonna warm up really fast. People have been going for like 5 minutes, maybe 10. This is a very, very steep start. So like yesterday's, it's just a lot of elevation, really, really fast. And that's what this is. We can do it. All right, so we have to go through this. We're heading up right there. Gotta get up this though. This is gonna be the steepest part. Just looking at it. Bones way, see you at the saddle. Made it to the saddle. That was gonna be the hardest part. You can do this hike as an out and back, or you can connect it with this loop here. We think we're gonna connect it. That's the plan right now. We will see once we get to where it technically ends and how we're feeling.
All Trails says it's about 3.5-ish mile trail, but that is just the out and back trail. As Sam said, we're probably going to do the loop trail. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than that.
We had read that there were sheep that you could potentially see on this trail, and we just found them. You can probably hear the bell. Hi, guys. Just for context, these are somebody's sheep. They're all tagged, and obviously there's one with a bell. From what we read, they're fairly used to humans on this trail, but they have this whole area just to roam free, which I think is incredible. Hi, babies. Hi. Oh. Oh. Oh my. Chris just told me that straight this way is Italy and over that way is Austria. It's crazy. We have come to another sign. Yay. We are in the final stretch here to get to the end of this trail, and we are greeted with more sheep sounds. Hi guys. Last push, last push. We made it to the top. I have never seen that many flies and gnats before. It looks like the sheep were up there for a while. Lots of sheep droppings and about 1 million insects. Though, unfortunately, we're not gonna go back up there. That was awful. So we're gonna sit down here. We packed some sandwiches and we'll enjoy the view this way.
So we have found a spot to sit down and enjoy the view without all of the bugs. And I brought a hiking beer with me. And I feel like hiking beers are much like beers at the airport. Time doesn't really matter. It's 8:30 right now in the morning, but it doesn't matter. I'm enjoying the beer. You guys can see the view. You'd understand why, but about finished with this, and then we're gonna head back down.
Hi. We're gonna do the loop. We replenished. I think we have the stamina to do it. So here we go. Meant to mention this, you can drink in public. If you're over 18, you can really drink anywhere. So if you look closely, we are going to walk there, go through that patch of snow, and then go up, it looks like over there. So this part of the trail is open and exposed, so we should be getting some good views coming up here. However, we're also gonna get beaten by the sun, and it looks pretty rocky. We'll see how, how we fare. Show you all how steep this is. It's crazy. And it's all gravel under your feet, so it all just slides if you don't get good footing. Bottom part there was a rock scramble. I had to use my hands, claw. It looks like it's not as bad right here. It's just the gravel that makes it so hard. Also, I would recommend poles. We left ours back in the States, but I would definitely recommend them. We thought maybe we were just here at a great time because there really wasn't many people on the trail. This is probably one of the more popular trails because it's a shorter hike that gives you a really great view, but we really have only seen a handful of people. We just came up on the saddle. So many people, like dozens of people now. Or we get up at 5:30 to do this stuff.
So we are now on our way back down the mountain, and just to give you guys a sense of some of the logistics about that hike, and namely the parking and the road up there. So I mentioned the road up there is no joke, and coming down is also no joke, especially right now. It's about 10:30, and there are cars absolutely everywhere. There's bikers on regular bikes, there's bikers on motorbikes weaving in and out. The parking lots are all full. Everyone is just trying to find any bit of parking they can in any of the gravel off to the side of the road. Do yourself a favor, get your butt out of bed, get up there early. When we got to the trailhead this morning, it was 6:45-ish, and I think we got one of the last spots in kind of the main parking lot. Now there are a few other parking lots just close by. Otherwise, you're gonna have to park down the mountain a little bit and walk up, which would be not a fun addition to your already pretty difficult hike. Do yourself a favor and get up here early.
So we got home and I immediately took a shower, went to sleep. These 5:30 days are starting to catch up with me a bit. So now it's been a couple of hours. We have not eaten lunch. We're gonna go ahead into town. We stopped in Navopa pub for a quick bite and had the most delicious burger and fries. But we were so beat from this hike this morning that we ended up going home for the evening.
Well, good morning yet again. It is a little bit later today. I say later, somewhat in jest, because it's still 7:15, but later for us and later compared to this trip. Today, we don't really have definitive plans, but we're heading back up towards the Vršič Pass area, which remember, that's where we started the hike yesterday. Beyond that pass area, there is a scenic drive. There's several little stops and things to see along this road, so we're just gonna drive and stop when we feel like it.
Well, this drive is definitely known for its natural beauty. There are some things that you can see along the way, and one of them is this Russian chapel.
So if this chapel on the side of the road along this challenging drive seems a bit odd, I promise you it does have a point. So back in World War I, the Austrians had control of this area, and it had imprisoned about 10,000 Russian POWs who were building this road. During that time, there was an avalanche that killed several of the POWs, and in commemoration of them, as well as for them to have a place of worship, they built this small chapel.
We stopped in this itty bitty town called Trenta, and I got a coffee. Chris found a beer that he had not had yet, so he grabbed the beer. The options are we can go back up and over the pass that we just came down, or we can continue going basically in a loop to get back to where we're staying. To do the loop, we have to go back into Italy to come back into Slovenia. It's almost the same amount of time to go back up the pass or to go all the way around. So I think that's what we're gonna go do. We didn't really have a lot planned for the drive today. We've just been pulling over as we see different signs that are interesting, which has led us to this beautiful little gorge over Suspension Bridge. A lot of people on it right now, so I can't get like a steady photo, but it's really, really pretty. Even in this early morning light, the water's so blue. So we are currently walking to an abandoned fort. It's called Fort Hermann. It is completely explore at your own risk. We have to go through an epic tunnel system to get there, and we just started. Absolutely nobody mentioned there was a hike involved. I'm not sure how long the hike is. Made it to the fort, mostly shaded, which is nice. This fort, it's been completely abandoned. The structure is unstable. We're going to very carefully tread through it and see what we can find. That was super neat to explore. You know, we've always gotten to explore castles. We've never done a fort before, so that was pretty neat. Little eerie, not gonna lie, but I'm glad it's daylight out because this would be a really good place to film like a scary movie. From my watch on the way down, it took us right around 17 minutes to get down, and my watch clocked us at 0.65 miles. So if you do want to do it, plan for about 20 minutes up, 10 minutes to explore, about 20 minutes back down. If you don't feel like doing any of that, there is a fort that you can pay to explore. They open at 10 o'clock. We got here at 9:30, so we decided to do Fort Hermann, but you can go explore this fort. It's right with the same spot. Since we've been driving for the better part of like 2.5, 3 hours at this point, we ended up on the Italian side. It's been a few hours since we were able to eat something, so we both just got something small. We have a really nice dinner planned tonight. I, for lunch, got carpaccio di cervo, which is deer carpaccio, which I've never had before, but I do love game meat, so I'm excited to try it. That was the perfect little light lunch and break that we needed from driving. Now we're gonna head back to the valley that we're staying in. We're gonna get changed. The plan is right now that we're gonna go hang out at a lake and do some swimming. We were going to head to one of the mountain lakes here, but it was packed, as you would imagine it would be in August on Saturday. So we ended up going back towards our Airbnb, and people are just here in the river swimming. So we decided that we would go ahead and enjoy the river. I wanted to explore some more, so we decided to walk up the river a bit. The lake is on the other side up here. Chris is now in the riverbed, seeing if there's a better spot for us to hang out or just a different view. We didn't realize that the trail was gonna lead us right to the lake. We thought the lake was a bit farther up. This place is definitely packed, but y'all, this view, I'm so happy we decided to explore. Like polar plunge level, very cold. It is getting late in the day and we have dinner reservations, so we need to walk about 15-ish minutes back to the car, and then we need to go home and get cleaned up so we can go to dinner.
This is our last night on our Slovenian road trip. We are going out with a bang. We are going to go to the Triangel Boutique Hotel, but it's not just a hotel. They have a very good restaurant, a bib gourmand list, so it is some sort of tasting menu. Sam says 4 courses, so a 4-course menu, just like last time in Ljubljana. See what this one's all about. So we've got a quick break in the live music. We can't really talk during our meal just because the live music is very loud. Figured I'd give you guys a quick rundown. So we had an amuse-bouche. I think it was smoked trout with some caviar on top, all served on top of like a seaweed chip. Very, very good. In addition to that trout, there was another amuse-bouche that was chicken pate that was layered on top of this delicate buttery toast. Absolutely delicious. And then we've got bread and some homemade butter with some radish shavings on top. Also very good. Everything so far, delicious. We've got our local wine and this view over here. It's hard to beat.
Back from dinner, in our opinion, was just underwhelming. The best dish we had was the very first taster from the kitchen.
The amuse-bouche, which isn't even part of the tasting menu, and dessert.
Dessert was great except for the potpourri that was on top. It just felt like every dish was either, it was over the top or not enough. And the main was a pork dish, and y'all, I am not a cook, and I could have made that pork. With that being said, we normally tell you guys, listen, if it wasn't right for us, go and check it out. But based off of the price and the experience that we have, we just can't in good consciousness recommend that you go there. We could have just been unlucky. Sometimes it happens. If you have been, please let us know. Did you have a great experience? Drop us a comment. We'd love to hear the good stuff. We don't ever want to talk about the bad stuff, but we just want to be transparent that this was a big miss for us.
Well said. I have nothing else. The view was great. It was a lovely evening otherwise, but yeah, it was an underwhelming miss for us.
We are going to be heading back to Italy tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. We do have a couple other Slovenia videos on our channel, so make sure that you check them out. Otherwise, stay thirsty for adventure, and we'll see y'all in the next video. Cheers.